All right, everyone. Welcome back to the SALT Summit, day 2. Super excited for today. We have an incredible speaker lineup. Going to have just an incredible time. Yesterday, so many people came up and talked about the speakers and the content and just the overall value that they were able to take away from the conversations yesterday. And just so appreciative of all the speakers and the preparation and the ideas that were shared yesterday. Today will be another incredible day filled with a lot of value. So if you're tuning in on the live stream, you're here, or if you're viewing this content after the event, we're going to be putting all this content together so it can be consumed and applied and used within your business in the day-to-day. The lineup for this morning, we have out in the lobby Whitney Schlander, who's doing a live painting, which is amazing. It is inspired by the SALT Summit. She's an incredible fine artist, abstract painter, and just so cool to see her out there in the lobby doing her thing. She is a local here in Arizona, someone that we met through Ward, who is actually our first speaker today. She was on the Create Forward podcast, and just an incredible person, designer, creative, and it's just a privilege to have her kind of setting the tone as you walk in to the summit today. The first speaker, like I said, is going to be Ward Andrews of Draw Backwards, a design firm here in the Valley, who also we have the privilege of producing a podcast together, Create Forward, an incredible podcast about creativity and design. And next, we actually have changed. If you see it out here on the screen, Bob Worsley will be speaking to us about the idea of what if, and we'll kind of leave it there, and he'll share more on that. And then we'll end the morning session today with Bo Euler of Enlisted Design, talking about launching craveable brands and products. The lineup this morning is just jam-packed, so get ready, and it's going to be a really good morning. Here's Whitney. Here's her info. I'd like to quickly introduce Ward. Ward, like I said, runs an incredible UI UX firm, has worked for companies like Amex, Sony, PlayStation, just exudes the idea of creativity, of positivity, of creating the ultimate form of your life through designing it with creativity and purpose. I have the honor of co-hosting a show with him all about creativity, the Create Forward show, which you can find on YouTube, on podcast platforms, as well as on social at Create Forward show. Ward is going to be delivering some incredible advice about being creative. And this dude knows what it's all about being creative, and how each of us have the ability to be creative. So I'll invite Ward up on the stage to do his thing.
Thanks, John. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, good morning. I love this SALT event. Startups, artists, leadership, technology. Like, who designed a better conference for me to attend? Those are all the things I love, so it's awesome. And I know the things you love because you're here today. And the cool thing is, if you're here today and you've shown up and you have intention to be here, then you're going to learn something, and you're going to be able to create something from that because you showed up. And in creativity, one of the biggest things is it's so easy to have an idea, and the real work is in, after you have that idea, doing something with it, all right? But for today, I'll actually talk a lot about how do I understand to go from 0 to 1? How do I go from, I don't think I'm creative, to, I know I'm creative and I'm going to knock this out of the park? That's the main focus today. And hopefully we'll have a little bit time at the end for some questions. But I'll tell you that it really all starts with showing up and being inspired. So yesterday morning, Tyler Farnsworth, he gave a talk about authenticity, about storytelling. And it shook me because I had already built my deck for this talk, and my deck sucked. Like I was using AI images, I was using stock photography, I wasn't bringing my story into it. I was just going to tell you about how to be creative and a framework that I built. It sucked. And then from like about 11 a.m. until now, I redesigned my deck, rewrote half of it, redesigned my website, launched my website so that I could show up here the way I need to show up for you so that we can be creative and have a real conversation. All right? So the other thing is, I had this really fun kind of AI tweaked image of myself on social media for the last year. Got rid of that. So if you go to @WardAndrews, I have a nice studio photo now that's a lot more relevant and a lot more me. And so, Tyler, shout out to you. I appreciate that. It was awesome. Okay. So I have an intention for being here. And the really thing that's important in creativity is that you know what you're doing, and then the creativity will play out and you'll figure out what to do. So my intention is that I want to help others discover their infinite creativity. Essentially, I want you to understand what your inherent creativity is, which is different than mine, way different than mine. 8 billion people on the planet, and we each have our own way of being and our own way of doing. And so you need to tap into that. I'm going to help you do that. I want you to create your extraordinary life, which is way different than mine. And that's the beauty of being human. That's the beauty of being here on this planet. That's the beauty of being here today, because you're taking action by being here to be inspired to get stuff done. So I'll tell you a little bit about my extraordinary life, the way I call it. I've essentially built a design firm called Draw Backwards. It's been around 20 years, so that I could create and use technology in the way I want to create software products that are a massive success. Massive success for who? For the people who are using the products. And when you make amazing products, then you get amazing customers that want to use the products, and everybody starts making a lot of money and having a lot of fun. And that's the way I've lived my life, and it's been through creativity. And when I've had an idea, I've taken action on it. So just a couple of fun things. During the pandemic, I decided I needed to learn how to play the piano. I didn't know how to play the piano. And I still don't know how to read music, but I do know some chords, and I do know what works for electronic dance music, which is what I like. And I just keep figuring that out. The third floor of our home that's been renovated, it's an electronic dance music studio now, complete with enough that I could have 16 people in there with different instruments doing whatever the heck we want. All right, that's just out of intention because I want to learn how to create electronic music, and I took action on it. Yes, I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. I'm a season ticket holder of the best basketball team on the planet. They're going to win a championship this year. I'm just letting you know now, so you can rewind back to this when Bradley Beal hits a wide open 3 in Game 7 of the championship. And we have a championship. We have a Larry O'Brien trophy sitting here in Phoenix. Okay? Lisa and I went to Paris. It wasn't enough to go to Paris. We got a photographer so that the photographer could follow us around so we could have an amazing time when we were in Paris, so we could capture that memory and we could share it between ourselves and with others. Sean and I have created a creativity podcast called Create Forward. There's so many stories I could tell you about, and I don't have time, but I want you to know that if you know what you want to do and you do it and you use the creativity bicycle that I'm going to talk about today, it'll be easier for you to get there. You'll get there and have a lot of fun doing it. I do want to give a shout out to my team at Draw Backwards. We celebrated our 20th anniversary this year, and I said, hey, we've had so much fun, and I travel a lot. I'm taking the whole team and a significant other to Cabo, and we're going to have a great time, and we're going to party in Mexico for like 4 days. It was awesome. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to create for my extraordinary life. I hope that's fun, and that might inspire you. But let's get to the business of how you're going to create in your life. And I share these stories not to brag. I share these stories as hopefully a spark or inspiration for you to get to do what you want to do the way you want to do it. These are the kinds of things that I want you to think about. And I love that Bob's coming up next, and his whole thing's about what if, which is a super powerful way to be curious. And he's going to talk all about that. I already know all about what if. I'm super excited to hear his talk. So curiosity, like what are you curious about? And when you're curious about it, do you let that idea float away? Or do you say, well, what does that mean? What does that do? What do I need to research? Whatever it might be. How many times have you thought, well, I wonder what the population of this city is, or I wonder why this works that way, and then you never even took the next step of at least Googling it, or at least figuring out how somebody else did it. Super simple, super easy, but it starts you on the path. Intention, what's your intention? I told you my intention for this talk when I started, and I built the whole deck around that intention, and I'm here and I'm standing in front of you because I really do want to help you become the creative person I know that you can be. And then a hypothesis or a question. What are the questions that you can ask, right? So we'll figure that out, and then there's a framework that goes on top of that that helps you do it in a really easy way. I'll tell you a couple stories from my life really quickly about when I was curious, when I had a hypothesis, or when I wanted to create and I wanted to have some intention. I'll tell you really fast. We can deep dive on it another time if you're interested, but it's just a spark for you, and then we'll get into the specific frameworks you need to be creative. So chess. So I was in elementary school at Fuller Elementary School in Tempe, Arizona, and this guy shows up. This guy, Paul Peroni, shows up. He wants to be the chess coach at Fuller Elementary. And all my friends joined the chess club. And all my friends are really good at math. I'm not good at math, okay? And they're loving this chess thing. They're going to tournaments. They're winning trophies. And Fuller apparently is really good. They started winning like city tournaments and regional tournaments, and they won the state championship in chess. And all my friends are doing it, and I'm like hanging out because I think I'm not good at math, so I must not be good at chess or whatever. And I thought, I'm curious. So I started going to chess club. I was terrible. I was getting beat every time, guys. I was getting beat bad. I was getting beat so bad. And the team was really good, and they were going to go to the nationals. They were going to go to the nationals in like 6 months. And I said, Mom, I want to go to nationals. And Mom talks to chess coach Paul, and Paul's like, Ward's not ready. Ward's not ready to go to nationals. Like, he's not even in the top boards. Like, there's no way. And she told me that. And I thought, I was curious. I was like, well, what do I have to do? Who do I have to be to go to nationals? And she's like, I don't know, talk to your coach. Talk to my coach. And my coach is like, Ward, here's 700 chess puzzles. Do these. And like 2 days later, I dropped the 700 puzzles solved back, and he gave me another 500 puzzles. He gave me another 500 puzzles. Needless to say, about 5 months into this journey, I was beating half the team because I learned how to solve from positions on the board, and I figured out how to use my creativity in the middle game. We don't have time to unpack chess, but if we did, we would talk about the opening, the middle game, the end game, and the different ways you have to think. Anyway, I ended up going to nationals. It was really cool. And it was because I was so curious to learn how to do this. And so that's really powerful, and that's really important. Shaq, we almost have no time for Shaq, but I'll just tell you that I was curious when Shaq showed up in Phoenix. Right? Like, he shows up in Phoenix, he has his press conference, he starts dropping these quotes that are so funny, right? And they're so short, and they're so clever. And this was early days of Twitter, and I'm like, he's got to be on Twitter. He's not on Twitter? I'm like, I wonder if @Shaquille O'Neal is available. It's available. I'll just go ahead and take that. Okay, so I did that, and tweeted as Shaq for about a few months, and then people started asking Shaq, why are you saying that about Eric Dampier? Why are you tweeting from the bench? You're not tweeting from the bench, are you? You said you're tweeting from the bench, right? And so we don't have time to unpack it, but if you Google Ward Andrews, Shaquille O'Neal, you can read the New York Times, Sports Illustrated. You can read about it. Anyway, Shaq got on Twitter. Twitter blew up. You know that blue check mark? Wow, that's because people impersonate people on Twitter sometimes. Okay. So Biz Stone, one of the founders of Twitter, said it was the first known documented impersonation of someone on Twitter. So I like to take that badge. That's a fun one. This is from being creative. Draw backwards. If you spell draw backwards, it's Ward, just in case you didn't pick that one up yet. So my name's on the door, but we've been doing this for 20 years. And in the creative process, I'll tell you how we draw backwards to create success. I just want you to know, we're fortunate enough to work with Amex, Choice Hotels, General Dynamics, Sony, PlayStation Division, designing great experiences for people. The greatest trophy, we don't enter award shows, the greatest trophy is that my clients have created billions of dollars in value through cost savings or through product innovation. We've changed the lives of hundreds of millions of users, customers of these products. Like, that's the trophies that I want. Okay? Last one, though, 2 startups we had. One called BookFresh out of San Francisco, redesigned the UI, redesigned the experience. Square acquired them. So if you ever use Square to do appointments and booking, that's the UX we created. Experian. Many of us had credit cards stolen, like through Target or whatever. Experian and Target sent you, hey, here's 90 days free with this My Identity product. We designed that. We designed it for a startup. Experian acquired it, gave it to everybody to help protect their identity. Okay, so this is me auditioning for Stranger Things, only this is actually in like 1985, right here with my BMX bike. Like, I feel like I'm on brand for Stranger Things right there. Casio watch, glasses, skinny kid, BMX bike. I'm ready to chase bad guys. And then this is me with some friends a couple weeks ago, mountain biking in Pine Top. So creativity is easy as riding a bike. And I want to keep it this simple because it really is this simple. What do we learn? We've all learned to ride a bike. I would hope most of us have learned how to ride a bike. Max, have you ridden a bike yet? Yeah? Yeah, even Max has ridden a bike. All right, sweet. So what do you got to do to learn to ride a bike? You got to learn balance. You got to learn to control your emotions so you don't freak out because you're on this thing and how is my body doing this? I'm balancing. How do we trust ourselves? How do we create a path where we're going? Okay? If you know how to ride a bike or you've learned how to ride a bike, you were able to do it. You were able to figure it out. It was a little hard, then it was easy. That's how creativity can be for you. 2 wheels, 1 purpose, and get you where to want to go. Okay, so how do you start using these tools? The first thing is, where to? What's the intention? Where do you want to go? Okay, well remember, you're going to use curiosity, intention, and hypothesis. I've told you how I do it. Now how are you going to do it? We're going to use what's called the creativity wheel. I've created 2 frameworks, 2 wheels. You need 2 wheels to ride a bike. This is how you do it. You probably have not heard about this before. I just created it like a couple months ago. But I just unpacked the details around how someone is creative in a way that I don't think has been done before, because when you're in school, you aren't taught this, I will promise you. You are not taught this. You're taught everything except this. And in society, you're not taught this. What you're taught in general culture is creative. Oh, boom, I just pop out original stuff magically, like out of thin air. That's not how it works. And because people think that, they get super intimidated. People say, Ward, I'm not creative. Or students at my class at ASU, they're like, Ward, it's the blank page. I panic. I get anxiety around that. Yeah, we all have, because we haven't been taught how to be creative. Okay? And it can be this simple. We have an intention. And then the first thing we do is exactly what they tell you never to do in school. Copy. Legit. Like, I'm telling you it's okay to copy to start, okay? Like, copy, right? If you see something that's working, go ahead and take a first stab and copy it. When I was in design school, the best way I learned to be a graphic designer, because that's my education. I have a fine arts degree in graphic design, okay? I like certain designers. I started copying how they did it. Not to have that be the end game, but for me to start to learn, okay? So in business, we see this sometimes. Oh, well, this is how they're doing marketing. I'm going to start by doing marketing that way. That's not the end game. That's just the start, okay? Like, Tyler did a great deck about storytelling. I was like, I need to tell my story too. So I was copying. But that's just the beginning, right? So then the next step is remix. You copy, then you remix. You know how many people have made millions of dollars in arts and entertainment industry by remixing? Okay? And what's funny is you can even remix your own stuff. Okay, so James Cameron rolled out Avatar 2. You know what Avatar 2 is? It's a remix of all of his best movies in one movie. Okay? I'm serious. Like, you can look at The Abyss, Terminator, Titanic, And you can go do a side-by-side, frame-by-frame, and it's a better version of the previous take. I mean, if I had the time, I'd do it. I'd put it together for you. It's insane. So go watch Avatar 2 again and just start flagging all the scenes from all the movies, right? And he used one angle in Titanic, and he used one set of lights, but in this, he just floods another vehicle with water, and people are trying to get out, but he just did it better. He remixed his own stuff. So what comes after remix? Remix, then you evolve it. You evolve it and you start making it new. Again, that James Cameron reference is an easy one. You see this in sports all the time. We're going to run a prevent defense, or we're going to run a boxing. We're going to run a 2-3 zone. We're going to run, the wildcat offense in college football. All these offenses, all these patterns. But if you were to just copy it, you know how quick defenses will pick that up? Like that. So then you start making subtle changes, or like changing out plays, or mirroring the play to the other side of the field. That's a remix. But with Evolve, you just start saying, you know what, I'm not going to use the slot receiver like that. I'm going to use them like this. You start to evolve it. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow, look at all the space I'm creating on the field. What if I just stacked all these receivers here, pulled the tight end over here, and pulled the running back out? All of a sudden you're moving from Evolve to Originate, right? And you can do this in business too. You could do this with email marketing, right? Oh, I really like how that team did that offer. Oh, you know what? We have a better product, and so if we did it in this way, we can make a better offer using the same thing. Oh, you know what? Why don't we bundle this and this together and evolve it into something else? You know what? That's working, but what's interesting about it working is that the customer actually wants this, not that. Okay, then I'm going to offer that within this framework, and I'm going to originate from there. You can do it with anything. You can do it all the time, okay? It's really easy. But guess what? When you originate, you're not done. So this is the other thing that you're taught. You're taught in school when you finish an assignment, you're done. You're not even close to done because you finally created something, and now you get to show it off. So many times people have amazing ideas, even create amazing products, services, art, and then they keep it, they hold it, they don't think it's good enough, they don't show it. And so after you work this wheel and after you originate, you're not done. The next step is you share it and you inspire others. And if you follow these lines around, you'll see that this line goes right back to copy. Because the cool thing is, when you inspire somebody, they're going to copy it, and then the wheel's going to keep going again and again. Or you're going to copy it, and you're going to do it again and again and again. Okay? So that's the creativity wheel. That's only one wheel of your bike. There's the design thinking wheel. Now this one you might be more familiar with. You might be familiar with the concept of design thinking. Design thinking is typically a 5-step process. Stanford D School teaches it. Frog Design and other major design firms have used this process. I find it incomplete, and I've reworked it, I've remixed it, I've originated it into a 6-step process that we use at Draw Backwards and that you could use for anything you do in your life. Typically, when you're creating something, you start with, I'm going to create some cool ideas. And I've been a victim of this as a CEO, as a leader. I'm like, I've got a cool idea, guys, let's go. Right? And typically, those don't work as well as when we work the process. So when I say draw backwards, and I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about the idea that before you create the idea, you've got to draw backwards and figure out the context of what you're doing and understand the person that you're creating it for and define what the challenge or the problem for that user is, and then you can ideate, you can start creating. But that's not typically the way it's done, especially when people are racing toward trying to be innovative. They're actually subtracting the process of being innovative, okay? So the way we do it is we say research first. Let's just frame the situation. Let's say this is a commercial product for business. Okay, what is the business trying to do? What is the business objective of the day? Who's the audience? What's the market? Is there a market share? Is there product market fit? What are the things around that? Or are you an auteur? Are you a Steve Jobs? Are you an Elon Musk? They're still working this process. They're just saying, I see this occurring or not occurring in the market. I have empathy for what I want, for that user because I'm the user, and sometimes, Elon will get thrown off. Sometimes the Cybertruck doesn't really make sense, okay? But sometimes it does, and we could unpack that in Q&A if you want. Empathize with the person that you're creating the product for, and then define what is the problem, what is the solution for not only that user that you have empathy for, but also for your business. Once you do that, you start creating concepts. You make prototypes that you can test with the users that you have empathy for, and then you test. So let me give you a real-world example. We've done a lot of work with Choice Hotels. Choice Hotels has about 30 hotel brands under it. Choice Hotels had this issue where everybody wanted to book their hotels with the OTAs, meaning Expedia, Orbitz, wherever, right? Common problem. Problem is, you don't want to shave 30% off your transaction up top because somebody's going to some other site. Why are they going to the other site? Why are you going to the other site? Because it's easier to use. Funny thing is, when you make something that's really easy to use, you just want to trust the actual brand. People wanted to use it. And the funny thing is, and we told this to Choice, Choice, you have this amazing competitive advantage that you don't have one hotel chain. In any given city, you have all of this inventory at all of these price points. We can create an experience where you can book, where they can comparison shop all your own brands in one UI and pick the one that's tailored for them, right? You can kind of do that in Expedia, but not in the way you could do it when you own the supply chain. And you can start pricing things exactly right and almost competing against and steering people where you want. As people start upgrading one, you can start offering as a second opinion a higher end brand within your own portfolio. There's all this magic you can create. It's just not how it was being thought of. Empathy for the business. The business wanted to book rooms at 100%, not at 70% in terms of fees collected, right? Empathy for the user. They want to go to New York City and comparison shop on a visual map. We know this because we did research with the users. We had them talk out loud about the experience they were having and understood that's how they wanted to book. And they wanted to do all of that on their smartphone. And so we had to figure out how to create an amazing UI where you could pin one thing, still kind of show it, still be able to browse through other things, pin that and do it in an easy and intuitive way where you don't need any directions. And if we could solve that, we're going to create hundreds of millions of dollars a year in bookings. That's just working this wheel. So how did we do that? We started designing it. We didn't get it right the first time. You don't necessarily get these experiences right the first time. It's like you don't build Avatar 2 with one dude in a closet. You build Avatar 2 with 100, 300, 500 people over the course of, I don't know, did it take 12 years to build that thing? Whatever. I mean, he had other stuff he was doing, like going to the bottom of the ocean and stuff like that. But it takes that kind of effort to create something that magical. Okay? So what did we do? We started building prototypes. We started testing one-on-one with people that wanted to book hotels rooms. They spoke out loud to us and our research team at Draw Backwards about what their struggles and frustrations were. Why is it there? I want to see this. I don't see this. When I get all the way here, I still don't know if that's the room I want to book because I'm still comparison shopping. That's what my mindset is. That's not what the interface's mindset is. Okay, we'll make the interface's mindset that so that we're matched up with how your brain thinks when you get there. Right? That's creativity in serving others. So we kept prototyping it and testing it, and now people book through Choice's app. Yeah, they still book through the others, but the percentage is in the right place now, and they're making the revenue they need to make. Cool thing is, when you create something amazing and people start trusting you to create stuff that's amazing, they come back to you. Choice was trying to figure out how to do mobile key, how you can just go to the room, mobile key. I don't want to go to the desk first. I want to check in, mobile key. They came to us. We helped figure out how to present mobile key in a mobile interface. You can apply this to anything in your life, though. It doesn't have to be business. It doesn't have to be technology-specific services. This could be parenting. This could be making a cake. Parenting. Oh, every time we do that, they don't like it. I don't like it when they don't like it, right? Or there's a bedtime, right? I would love it if they went to bed at that time, but they're not. And so then you start trying to enforce these rules around bedtime without even understanding what's going on in the brain of the kid. And each kid has a different brain, by the way. And each kid has a different reason for why they don't want to go to bed. So you have to step back and go, why does our all the way back to the initial research or framing the initial problem, why does our family have a bedtime? Does everybody even know that? Mom just told me there's a bedtime. But mom also knows that when you get to bed at that time, we have a much better day the next day, and we're able to do fun things, and we've got this trip we're going to go on, and all these things. The kid doesn't know that because that's not even part of the conversation. So in creativity, we have to back up because we want to make our experience amazing for our families and for our kids. So we got to back up and go, okay, I have empathy for my child and what they're thinking. So for me as a kid, it was like, Ward, you got to be in bed at 9 p.m. Every night. You got to be in bed at 9 p.m. This kind of went on too long for me. Like I think I was in junior high or high school and it was still, you got to be in bed at 9 p.m. It wasn't working. One of the reasons it wasn't working for me wasn't the reason you might think. The reason was there was this crazy TV show on ABC. I know, it was back when there was only like 4 channels. And it was called Max Headroom. It was a really cool TV show. Yeah, I couldn't watch Max Headroom because it came on at 9. It's ridiculous. Now me, I just figured out a way to like sneak into the room and go around the couch and lay there silently so I could watch it with my head at an angle, which was kind of cool because Max Headroom always had this thing where he like tweaked his head at an angle, so it was okay. I named my son Max, and I just realized, I don't know, Max Headroom? No, I named him Max because it's Maxwell, because that's my mom's maiden name. But I always have liked the name Max. Anyway, that's why I was up late at night, because I wanted to watch Max Headroom. I wanted to watch Airwolf. I wanted to watch Knight Rider. And then I want to talk to my family about it after and not go to bed. I think Knight Rider's on at 8. But then Knight Rider ends, I got to go to bed, but I'm all hyped up because I just saw Knight Rider. I'm dating myself, but for those that know, you know, okay? This is good stuff. Okay, so then you define the problem. It's like, oh, well, Ward wants to watch this show. And so Mom and I did. I had to do the work, but whatever. Mom and I agreed that on these nights, I think it was Friday night, Ward got to watch Max Headroom at 9, and we figured out something where I could help her out the next morning with some things she was doing, and all of a sudden we figured out how to make it work. What I'm saying is that with the creativity wheel and design thinking wheel, you get stuff done. We could process any creative problem you have with these wheels. Happy to do that offline. Okay. So you know the wheels, you know how to ride the bike. We got to wrap this up. You know how to do that. So you may know how to ride a bike, but what are you going to do with it, right? And are you going to be able to show up consistently with these tools that you know how to use now, or that you're learning how to use now? You've got to trust yourself, right? It's like Bob's going to get up and talk about what if. If you ask what if and you don't trust yourself, right? That's not going to work. If you're a photographer, and you're shooting that shot, and you know the angle, and you know the lighting, and you know the expression, you know the emotion, you know it, then do it. Take your shot, shoot your shot, because you trust yourself, and you're going to get that shot every time. Believe it. You are perfect in who you are, even if you're imperfect. You got to know that you're perfect in how you do what you do. I wouldn't be able to do what I do if I didn't believe that I was doing it in the most perfect way I could do it. You got to have faith and trust in yourself. Whole. You've got to be whole. You got to know that you are whole and complete. You're not missing anything. You don't have to jump through 16 hoops in the morning to prove your worth. You're worthy as you are right now, so that you can create whatever you want to create, to do what you want to do, to create the life you want. As we start at the beginning, my extraordinary life is for me, and I believe in it. And you all have stories about what your extraordinary life is, and you got to believe in it so that you can create it. You can use the tools that we talked about today to get there. You're complete. Like, you can do this. Wherever you are right now, you're complete. When I was that little kid that didn't know how to play chess, I was complete then too. Like, I just had to learn the skills to do what I needed to do to be who I had to be. Okay? In junior high, my chess team went to the National Junior High Chess Championships. I tied for 3rd in that tournament. This is a kid who isn't good at math, just worked puzzles and figured it out. I only lost to one guy, and it was the guy that won the damn tournament. The other thing that sucks is if you Google Ward Andrews chess, the only game that's documented in all of the internet is the game I lost to Bobby Seltzer, who's like some grandmaster now. It's like, damn it, you know? And I was playing this opening that I didn't fully have baked in my head, and anyway, it's a whole thing. You can go and Google that and watch the game that I lost that I didn't play very well in. But I won 3rd at nationals in junior high, a kid that isn't good at math, because the intention, the confidence became stronger, and I wanted to create it. So anyway, last thing I want to tell you is, if you use these frameworks, and you have your intention, you have your heart, you do what you want to do, so you can be who you want to be, You can create the future the way you want to do it. And that's my message for you. I love you, and thanks for being here. Go team. So my clock says 4 minutes. So if there are any questions about how to use the wheel, about a problem you have, I'm glad you brought a drink up here. A problem you have you want to process with the wheel, we can do it in like a minute. So anything you're trying to do in your life, let's talk about it. Don't be shy.
How do you fill the seats at a conference?
How do you fill the seats at a conference?
Yeah.
All right. What do other conferences do to get people to attend? We can figure it out. We can document that. We could get 100 things, right? This is the first conference. I mean, I can make a bold prediction that next time this room won't be big enough for this conference, right? Okay. Right. So we're going to talk to 10 different conference organizers. We're going to do it. Then we're going to remix it. We're going to say, oh, shoot. If those other conferences are doing it, why don't we just combine with that conference, right? Phoenix Design Week, why don't we bolt this onto that? We've already got all the people there. We're going to do it. We just 5X this room, right? Just right there, right? Evolve it. Oh. Well, SALT, awesome, right? SALT plus design, SALT plus one other thing. Why not do that, right? Originate. Oh, well, maybe we change up the format of the conference slightly, right? What if we have more panel speakers that then bring their crew, and then we can multiply it that way? These are just off the top of my head in 1 minute, right? But just work the wheel. What we're not going to do when Sean says that to me and I'm on stage and we're recording this and live streaming it, I'm not going to panic and go, oh, crap, I can't come up with an original idea right now. I'm going to say, oh, I'm just going to work the wheel. What's somebody else doing? How can I remix that? How can I evolve that? How can I originate that? So we're going to do all that. And after we do that, we're going to inspire others to be here. And I guarantee you, when the talks that are happening today are live and people are watching them and we promote those ahead of the next event, people want to be here to have this energy. That's how I'd solve that one. Okay, next one. I've got 2 minutes. Somebody's got a problem to solve. This is like free advice time. Let's go.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation.
Yeah.
I just learned about it yesterday.
Great, you learned about it yesterday.
So I think that's, yes, thank
So
you.
real quick, how did you learn about it yesterday?
Well, I'm one of the users of the space.
Users of the space,
yes, I
great.
just came and
Love it.
Lynn told me about it. And she said that she had a great day yesterday.
Perfect.
And in the presentation that she did, I was completely impressed. I learned so much, and I also, everything that kind of I knew, it clarified for me. So I actually did, I was part of the Stanford Design Thinking, a certificate that I've done.
Awesome.
And the way you presented, I'm like, oh my God, you did
That's-
it much easier than my 1 year
Yeah,
program there.
I
so-
gave you design thinking in 3 minutes, and people give you like 4 semesters of it in school. It's weird.
I
don't know.
I know. So this
All right.
is awesome.
So what are we going to
So
process?
Right now, my husband and I, we are developing this business, but we don't necessarily have the desire to keep it for the rest of our lives. This is
Right.
not. So kind of my question is, okay, I do all of this thing, but then it's okay to just like, okay, I did it. Let's
Yeah.
move on.
Okay. So I've got some great questions for you.
Okay.
What we hear is that you want to create a business, but you don't necessarily want to hold on to it. So that's triggering all these questions around empathy and research I want to do with you, because what I'm hearing is that you might want to create a business maybe just to generate cash, but you don't necessarily, it's not around a passion of something you want. You just need to have some income right now. Am I feeling you? Is that? Okay, sweet. Right, now what if I didn't do that? What if I didn't rewind? What if I didn't draw backwards and at least understand that context? Then all of a sudden, you and I are trying to bat around ideas and you aren't even passionate or interested in them, and there's no way it's going to work, right? Because isn't it like 90% of small businesses fail or some crazy stat like that? We don't want that for you, because people aren't using the creativity wheel, design thinking wheel in their business. That's why they're failing. We haven't been taught in school how to do this, right? We're at STEM, STEM, STEM. And we forgot about STEAM. We forgot about art. We forgot about creativity. You got to build that back in. Like right now, we got to build that back in. Okay, so tell me what you love.
Research.
What, research?
Yeah.
What kind of research?
Any kind of research. My background is cultural research.
Cultural research?
Yeah, but
What's your
people
favorite culture?
don't- Oh, I don't have a favorite. I love all the cultures.
You're just curious about culture.
I'm a cultural anthropologist, so I love all
Awesome.
the cultures.
That's amazing. A cultural anthropologist showing up at SALT. I love it. Okay. Tell me something you've recently been curious about.
Research in the industry, to be honest, UX research.
UX research. Awesome. I know a lot about that. We should talk.
Yeah, we should.
Okay. My firm does that every single day.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Best thing. Maybe you're looking for a job. Yeah, maybe you're looking for a job. Well, let's talk. Okay, so copy, right? Best thing to do? Watch YouTube. You know, I didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
I had to go get a 4-year degree in studio art. Half of it was doing fiber. My wife Lisa helping me do fibers because it was part of my studio art degree. It was fun, but that's how it's set up. And I love my professors, but they were from a different era. Okay, and that's even exacerbated now in education. I teach a class at ASU. It's cool. We still like educating. Let's just see what they're doing and how they're doing it, right? And as you watch more YouTube videos, or as you read about it, or as you talk with me or other industry professionals, you can figure out how to bring those passions and interests around anthropology into UX research, which I can tell you isn't happening. So you can already immediately go to Evolve and Originate because you can take the unique perspective of cultural anthropology, bring it in UX research. Isn't happening. I can just tell you that's wide open space. Okay, does that help?
Yeah.
That's a start. And then once you do that, you got to come back like next year and you got to tell the story, and so you can inspire others. Does that sound good?
Sounds awesome.
Okay, sounds like we've got something going there. I'm out of time, so again, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's nice to meet you.